Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Traffic Light Reviews. My name is Steven Munoz.
And my name is Michael Munoz, and on this very special episode, one of the things that we realized after watching a few of the videos, Steven realized that in a lot of our videos, we're giving green lights, we're giving yellow lights. We're not really in love with all the movies that we've seen, but we don't really hate any of these movies either. And we don't have any movies that we've actually given a real red light. So in this special episode, we're calling it the Red Light Special. And we're going to talk about movies that are just awful, garbage, have zero to little redeeming qualities, and should never have been made or should have been made way differently. Okay? What should we start with today?
Well, I know you didn't see it, and I will say you don't ever need to see it.
That's fine. Okay.
And there's a well, probably if they come out with the butthole cut, I'll probably watch that. I don't know if you heard about it, but
Cats.
the movie musical rendition of Cats, the not like Hamilton on Disney Plus. It is a full movie interpretation of the Broadway show. Um, I liked many of the songs in the show. Yes, I'm a little bit of a musical like nut.
Yeah.
I'll have like my playlist has weird things mixed into it. There's always a show tune mixed into it, and when it comes to Cats, yes, it's it's a classic so much so that all you could think of is, are they gonna ruin it? It's kind of like when fans were awaiting Star Wars Episode One, The Phantom Menace. Like, oh my God, we're gonna get the prequel. Is it gonna suck? Like we didn't know, and fortunately it did suck. But that's because Jar Jar Binks. But when it comes to Cats, they try to put an all-star cast: James Judy Dench, Ian McKellen. You got Idris Elba. You got your singers and Jason Derulo and
all of the ingredients of a good movie are there.
No, well,
a great cast.
The names are interesting, right?
Right.
You could have all the names in the world. That doesn't make it a good movie.
True.
That's another movie we'll talk about later on. But when it comes to this one in particular, the weirdness about it is that so they try to scale everything.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like when you see the actors, they're like normal size, right? So they look like, because cats walk on 2 feet. But, so they're all just walking like normal, but the world around them is big.
Yeah.
So like when you see the shops and everything else and the garbage bags and this, that, everything around, it's just bigger. Although not everything is, because there's one scene where they go into someone's house and then like everything's their size. It's like, oh, forgot the rules there on that one. like just out the window. But yes, the idea of how do you put all this together, interestingly enough. Yes, it's they wore suits and everything's put on later. The idea of a practical suit where it would actually have feathers, sort of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like, where they would just be wearing the cat suit already, so it would give a different sense rather than the CG feel. Well, one could have argued that would have made it look better. I don't know what was supposed to make it look better, but the story is. I realize in a movie form, some musicals just shouldn't be made into movies, because to me this just goes everywhere, and it just wasn't worth it for 1 sec. Like I just felt bad, just song after song, and then you realize if you know the show, oh my God, they're gonna sing this song now, and then it happens, and then you're like, I don't care, but like this is so underwhelming. Like every single number to me just didn't do it. And then at the very end, all the cats are on a fountain singing. It looks all weird. They try to make it majestic and larger than life. The term "falling flat on his face" doesn't describe this enough.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that, because first of all, the trailer scared the shit out of me. The trailer is really creepy when you see everybody, with their CGI cat bodies and no nipples and no private part. It's just weird. It was very, very creepy. I was hoping to be proven wrong. I had no interest in seeing cats. The only cats I ever saw was snippets of the live show that was recorded and played on PBS. And I remember thinking, this isn't a show. This is a collection of songs that they're singing about cats, and this Rumpelteazer and Jezebel cats and whatever the hell their characters are. And the cats come into the audience and they mess with people, and people get offended by people touching them, whatever. The point is, I didn't understand how they were going to make that into a movie, because in a movie you have to have a story. There are things you can do in a movie that you can't do on stage. There are things that you can do on stage you can't do in a movie. And the show was just a collection of songs, these own little like 10-minute stories. And I didn't know how that was going to translate into the movie. It got really bad reviews. It got a really bad reception from audience members. And even people that didn't see it, like myself, have way too many jokes based on the trailers alone. Based on the trailers alone. So I never want to see it. You saw it. I'm sorry you did. You hated it. Next movie I want to talk about. Are we good with moving on to? Yeah, we don't want to talk about Cats no more. When Steven was 12 years old and he graduated 6th grade, as a gift, I said, I want to take you to the movies. And we're going to go see Batman and Robin. Even at 12 years old, he knew that sucked. That was garbage. It was an awful movie. And just like you were saying before, you were talking about rich cast. On paper, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman, George Clooney.
George Clooney, man.
And George Clooney was big then.
Yeah.
He was really big then. And Chris O'Donnell, you're thinking, okay, Alicia Silverstone, she was also big then. She was just coming off the success of Clueless. And you're thinking, this is going to be a really, big kind of movie.
I think when Val Kilmer decides to make the movie The Saint instead of Batman and Robin, I think that says it all.
Yeah. To be honest, the whole Batman series that started with Tim Burton started to go downhill when Tim Burton left. And that's not to say that Batman Forever was bad. I love Batman Forever, by the way. I really love Batman Forever.
Batman Forever broke records.
Yes.
You got a great Seal song that came out of it.
True. But because of executive interference and the need to sell toys rather than tell a story, they left Tim Burton's version with the third movie, went a different direction, got a little more colorful, got a little more corny, went into this whole kid-friendly zone. And with Batman and Robin, they went there completely. They said, let's just put all this purple, pink, neon. Batman's gonna ice skate, okay? The Riddler,
oh my God, he does.
He ice skates. Oh my God,
I forgot that.
They surf in the air. They surf on metal doors in the air. George Clooney, as much as I love George Clooney, he has never been more boring, except for that movie One Fine Day that he did with Michelle Pfeiffer. He has never been more boring in a film than he is in this movie, and it's a Batman movie. How can you be boring in a Batman movie?
Well, I think George Clooney just did what not anyone else did when they played Batman. He was just George Clooney. Like, I didn't see Bruce Wayne.
No, that was George Clooney.
It was just George Clooney.
That was George Clooney.
Who's George Clooney playing? George Clooney. That's all George Clooney.
That Bruce Wayne? No, it's George Clooney. That's George
and
Clooney.
You just feel bad because off the record breaker of Batman Forever, the idea that it can be bright and still be interesting.
Yeah.
It's as if I mean, the idea of rush doesn't even describe how every movie had 3 years apart except this one. This movie came out 2 years after.
Right.
They really rushed it. Let's make some more money. Let's go off the Batman Forever. Can we get Seal? Can he do another song? Damn it. Maybe that's what was missing. I don't know if we need a Kiss from a Rose Part 2. But when it comes to what this movie was, in 2 years now instead of 3 to make it, I think the script was made in over a weekend. With minor revisions. It just really felt like, it's unfortunate. This one's gonna have Batgirl now. Okay, that's interesting. The
ingredients. They're there for a good movie.
The concepts are there.
Oh, and what a fail!
It's just unfortunate that the only Chris O'Donnell people blamed Chris O'Donnell because he stayed with the ship. Yeah, that he.
Yeah, he
you can never blame Alfred, because Alfred was just too good no matter what.
True.
But yeah, Chris O'Donnell just didn't get better. But it's not his job to carry the movie. I mean, yes, it's called Batman and Robin, so you would think he's going to be a bigger force in this movie. He's gonna help it. Nothing helped that movie.
Not even the star power of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Uma Thurman was a big deal too. She was coming off The Truth of Cats and Dogs, and just didn't work. I will say this though, in all fairness, I'd like to mention that the director of the film, Joel Schumacher, rest in peace, he recently passed away. He has apologized for this movie many, many times over the years. So he's sorry. We forgive you, and we're not gonna trash talk this movie anymore because it's too easy. Too easy. But we are going to move on to another movie. One movie that is part of a franchise, also part of a trilogy of movies. Classic trilogy that ended in the worst way possible. Beverly Hills Cop 3. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are fans of the Beverly Hills Cops movies. I am. I didn't particularly grow up with Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. I saw them sporadically in pieces. It wasn't until I got into like a young adult that I actually sat down like, yo, let me watch Beverly Hills Cop. Okay, this is funny. It's dated, but it's funny. It's action. I'm into it. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is okay. That's where he got the signature jacket. That's where he wears his Detroit Lions jacket that we see in 2 and 3 and in all the posters associated with the character of Axel Foley. Then part 3 comes out. Now I got to tell you, I was excited. I was excited. I love Eddie Murphy. I love the character of Axel Foley. I love Beverly Hills Cop. I was very excited to see Beverly Hills Cop 3 on HBO when it came out. I did not see that in theaters. I was too young, and I don't think I told my parents to take me to see that. This movie is garbage. This movie is complete garbage. And the worst part is it tries to be a good movie. It fails every step of the way. Every step of the way. Oh God. There's a line in the movie in the very beginning when Axel Foley's captain is killed in the raid. And the man's line before he died are, Axel, you're on a coffee break. Go get that son of a bitch. And he dies. I'm like, who says that before they die? And what kind of line is that? You're on a coffee break? Okay, now I get it. He's like, what are you doing? You're not doing anything. You're on a coffee break? Go get that son of a bitch. Oh, I get it now. It's still a shit line. Still a shit line. So yes, Beverly Hills Cop 3. Terrible, terrible movie. I was very excited to see this movie. All the ingredients were there for a good movie. The director of the Airplane movies. No, wait. Jonathan Landis, the director of Trading
wow.
Places,
Yeah.
directed this movie, and you think, okay, cool, but it was ridiculous. It was awful. They didn't even try to make a coherent movie. They just went for slapstick comedy throughout the whole thing. I mean, the end of the movie, he's fighting the bad guys with a big giant gun that shoots nets, missiles, and bullets,
Oh yeah.
and like, it was so stupid. Regretfully, I've seen this movie so many times. I always wanted to try to find some redeeming qualities from Beverly Hills Cop 3. They're undone. They're undone. Hopefully, they'll make another one like he wants to do, and then he'll apologize and make the franchise work. But yeah, let's move on from this one. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Well, I just feel like it was. How many times can you put the Axel Foley theme song into a movie? Because it just felt like whenever, like this probably played that so many times more than the other
I
ones.
disagree.
Really?
They only played the theme song once.
Oh wow, you would.
In Beverly Hills Cop 3, they played the theme once
I
in
thought
the whole movie.
really.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's just some weird, crappy score throughout the rest of the movie.
Oh okay. I'm like, yeah, there was music in it.
It's so stupid. So stupid.
No, I guess when it came down to back then, whenever they like in the 80s, 70s, just cranking out movies, it just seems like a factory job.
Right.
You know, like there's too many movies where in those eras where you can say like in shit, even a Academy Award winning Godfather falls to the fray, where by the third one is like, why do we make this? Like like just where like somehow we just lose the quality as we get more and more.
Yeah.
Also, because it's hard to keep telling an interesting story. Because Beverly Hills Cop is interesting, but it's not like the greatest story that you can make a saga off of. It's not like it loses its luster, real quick. But the last movie in our red light
Ooh,
special
heartburn.
that unfortunately had all the promise in the world that people were waiting for, because in the idea, I mean, I used to be an anime nerd, especially
Oh wow.
as a teenager when Dragon Ball Z came to the United States. It was the greatest thing since sliced bread. It opened up a whole new world for Cartoon Network. It opened up a whole new world for anime and its place in the United States. I mean, Sailor Moon kind of did it first, but with Dragon Ball Z, if you were a teenage boy in the late 90s, you knew what Dragon Ball Z was. There was no way you were not going to know what that was. And now, when are they going to make a live action movie? There was too many that came and went. Like there are a lot of movies that deserve the red light. Like I'll probably just throw out a quick one: Super Mario Brothers. That was a video game being translated to life horribly.
Right.
The Dragon Ball Evolution movie almost wasn't made if it wasn't for James Marsden. I'm saying Marsden, right? The guy played Spike. And
Yep.
he plays the villain Piccolo in Dragon Ball Evolution. James Marsden, I believe it was even reported that he even took a pay cut to be in this movie because he loved
believed in it.
Dragon
He
Ball
loved
so
this.
much that he was like, I gotta be in this movie. I want to be Piccolo. Like he had demands, and he got into the movie. He helped get it made. He helped, like, I guess, money was put into it because of him. But yes, that just because you love something, that doesn't mean it's gonna be good. Um, there are a lot of passion projects that just go by the wayside all the time. And when it comes to this was a I don't know if you remember people talking about it when they first saw the previews of the poster, like, oh, just another whitewash, a white guy playing Goku. The hair doesn't look right, or the hair does, like some. I remember it was mixed. Like some people were like, oh wow, that actually looks like Goku. Some people were like, oh, what the hell
Right.
did they do? Chow Yun Fat, that's not how Master Roshi looks. And this, that. Like, what is Chow Yun Fat gonna do? He's old. How is he gonna be poignant in this? It's just gonna be wire works, and this movie isn't gonna be interesting. And for all the naysaying, as a Dragon Ball fan, I had the hope. I had the hope, like many who, and I never saw Avatar: Last Airbender. So just in the same vein of Avatar: Last Airbender fans, they had hope going into it. Is this going to be good? Um, the unfortunate part is that there's nothing in that movie that saves it. Because there's nothing in that movie that is Dragon Ball. You cannot say that that was anything reflecting of there's a YouTube series that says like all the movie sins explained. They, like, for Dragon Ball Evolution, they go into like an uncounted amount of how many sins this movie created. They on just in the anime aspect alone, it j- Dragon Ball Evolution, they titled that for a reason, because it was not going to be anything you knew. They were just going to put names like Goku and Bulma and this and that, Piccolo, like, and just into this story, whatever the hell this was. Um, Also, too, in the saving grace point of that movie, where it has to happen. He has to do a Kamehameha. We need to see it in real life. We need to see how the CG is going to work. And, there's a potential that they could at least save that. Don't make that suck. Because the whole movie just, disappointment after disappointment. And there really was no real story. Like, if I rewatched it and all I thought was, we just go from scene to scene. Like, this was just,
Yeah.
and then this happens here, and then this happens here, and then this scene is here to introduce this character because, we just need to have them because they're in the Dragon Ball story, but that's not how they meet them at all in the real story of it. But we just need to put them in here, so let's just make a scene that, hey, I'm Yamcha, or
Right.
hey, this character shows up, hey, I'm Bulma. Like, okay, all these people just show up out of nowhere. Um, and the whole mysticism of it is played a little bit in the beginning and the end with Piccolo, like, oh yeah, there's a reason why all of this is the way it is. And when you get to the end, there you just want it to be over. Um, and you're only watching to the end if you are a Dragon Ball fan, in the hopes that, okay, when they get to the Kamehameha, hopefully this is worth it. And man, when I've never seen, like, Avatar: Last Airbender fans make fun of that movie. Yes, don't get me wrong, it's rushed as hell. I watched the series and then I watched the movie. I realized, oh yeah, they skipped a lot of stuff. Um, but with Dragon Ball, since they're just creating something entirely different, this isn't anything that anybody knows, so no one could even compare this to anything. That's how bad this is. It's just it's its own perfectly horrible story with perfectly horrible character buildup, and to the final battle culminate in such a way that he, I guess the special effects guys were just like, you know what, we could just do this in 2 seconds, and it's done. To completely underwhelm and not give anything, any any form of actual representation of what Dragon Ball was in a movie that's called Dragon Ball Evolution that was sponsored by the creators of Dragon Ball Z, the creators of all that. This was supposed to be what brings us into the mainstream, with Dragon Ball, and it falls flat as it on its face as it's digging into its own grave and setting itself on fire. It's I never felt so, other than Spider-Man 3, I never felt so defeated. Like Spider-Man 3, when I saw Spider-Man 3, we all came out of the theater, we are just like, what the hell did we just watch? What the hell happened? But I was in film school at the time, so we were all just geeking out, like, yeah, this is supposed to be good, right? And it just didn't hit the mark. But when I saw Dragon Ball, I went with Dragon Ball fans, and we were all just like, oh man, is it gonna suck? And we all were vehemently angry. Like I've never been so vocal after a movie for hours. Like we had to go back to our friend's place and actually watch some of actual Dragon Ball. Like this is not what it is, right? Like we're not crazy, right? Like the show is nothing like this. So we had to search just to make sure, like, oh yeah, it is nothing like this. Um, I only hope that this doesn't happen to future generations and what they're gonna see turned into live action. Because there's too much of that. There's too much of what you grew up with in a certain medium, and now it gets translated into live action, and there's too many letdowns.
Yeah.
It's too easy to do that. And I didn't want Dragon Ball to be one of them, and unfortunately it wasn't.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't hate Dragon Ball Evolution the way you did, but also because I wasn't a Dragon Ball Z fan. I tried to be. All of the ingredients for a really cool anime were there for someone like me, but I could not have the patience to watch a Dragon Ball Z episode. I, for those of you that are fans of the show, I understand. I understand why you're a fan. I get it. However, I did not have the patience to go to three, four, maybe sometimes five episodes while characters are powering up and super saiyaning and not doing anything. There were some times where I heard the announcer at the end of the episode, "Will Goku throw a punch?" Find out on the next three episodes of Dragon Ball Z. I found the show boring, but I love the idea of these supersonic characters with these hyper crazy powers who shoot into space and their hair turns blonde when they get pissed off. I was excited for the movie, to see that. I wasn't a big fan. I didn't hate the movie. It's a bad movie. I agree with you. It's a bad movie. It's terrible. But I definitely didn't hate it as much as he did because I really wasn't a fan of the show to begin with. But yeah, don't see that movie. If you're a fan of the show, definitely don't see that movie. This movie gets the red light hardcore. I mean, obviously, this is the red light special, so all these movies are gonna get the red light. If you're not a fan of the show, don't see this movie. You don't need to waste your time watching Dragon Ball Evolution. The one thing I will say about Dragon Ball Evolution, and I'm not trying to be racist, I know a lot of people were pissed off that the main star was a white guy and the show's supposed to be, was created by Asians and it should have an Asian lead. I gotta say, the way Goku is drawn, straight face and pointy nose and pointy eyes, and this kid looked just like that. He had the straight pointy nose and the small mouth, and the chiseled jaw and the square. Like, he looked exactly like Goku would in real life if he was in high school. I'm just saying, maybe not the hair. The hair was ridiculous, but the truth is, Goku's hair doesn't work on a human being in real life. Okay, that is why he's not a human being, right? He's like a half gorilla, half space ape. What is he like? I'm sorry. I'll stop. I apologize. I don't want to insult you guys. I do apologize. But yes, Dragon Ball Evolution sucks. Red light. Don't watch that crap.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. That'll conclude our first red light special. There'll be many more to come. If you want to give us any suggestions of what you think we should include in this,
Yeah.
we're going to be including more and more as we go with the red light special because yes, there's certain movies that are just so bad that we want you to steer clear of. We don't want you to waste your time,
We care about you.
and definitely we want to bring awareness to this horror, so that way nobody feels the same thing that we had to go through in watching these movies. So just make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And we'll catch you in the next one.